Perfect Wisdom. With the divisions of the Abhisamilakra. Translated by EdwardConze. 1904 to 1979. University of California Press, Berkeley, Los Angeles, London. Chapter 55. The exposition of the forsaking of discrimination. The knowledge of all modes. The characteristics. Heat. The characteristic of contemplating all dharmas as similar to a dream. The characteristic of not producing a thought of longing for the level of the disciples. Thereupon the Lord said to the Ven. Subhuti. Moreover. Subhuti. For the bodhisattva. The great being, even in his dreams the level of a disciple or pratyekabuddha, or anything that belongs to the triple world, does not become an object of his longing, or appears advantageous to him. He beholds all dharmas as like a dream, like an echo, too. Like a magical creation. But he does not realize his escape from this illusory world. This, Subhuti, should be known as the irreversible mark of the irreversible bodhisattva. The characteristic of having a vision of the tathagata. It is another mark if even in his dreams he sees the tathagata. The Arhat. The fully enlightened Buddha demonstrating Dharma. In the midst of an immensely large assembly, surrounded and revered by monks and nuns, laymen and laywomen, gods, nagas, yakshas, gandharvas, asuras, garudas, kinnaras, and mahoragas. Having heard this Dharma, he dwells so as to win the assurance that he will come to understand its meaning, as one who makes progress towards the Dharma and its logical sequence, who makes progress in conformity with that Dharma, and who courses in its logical sequence. This also should be known as the irreversible mark of an irreversible bodhisattva. The characteristic of having a perception of the wonder-working powers of a Buddha. Moreover, even in his dreams the bodhisattva, the great being, sees the tathagata rising up high into the air and demonstrating Dharma to the community of monks, endowed with the 32 marks of the Superman, as he exhibits the halo extending a fathom round his body, and manifold miracles, and conjures up magical creations through which he does a Buddha's work in other world systems. His also, Subhuti, should known as the irreversible mark of an irreversible bodhisattva. The characteristic of the production of a thought by which he demonstrates dharmas as similar to a dream. Moreover, if a bodhisattva even in his dreams feels no fear when confronted with the sacking of a village or city, or some huge conflagration. If he feels no sorrow, fear, terror, or fright, when he sees ferocious wild animals or fierce beasts of prey, or when he perceives that his head is about to be cut off, or sees other fearful and terrible things which bring suffering, mental agony, and despair, sees those who are hungry and thirsty, sees the death of mother or father, his brother or sister, or those dear to him, of his relatives and kinsmen. But if immediately on waking up from his dream he reflects that like a dream indeed is all this that belongs to the triple world, and when I have woken up to full enlightenment, I shall demonstrate that all dharmas in the triple world are like a dream. Then, this also, Subhuti, should be known as the irreversible mark of an irreversible bodhisattva. The characteristic of the recollection by which he abolishes the states of woe in his own Buddha field. Moreover, Subhuti, how can one discern that in the Buddha field of the irreversible bodhisattva, when he has become a fully enlightened Buddha, the 3 states of woe will in no way whatsoever be? If that bodhisattva, when he has in his dream seen hellish beings, or animal beings, or beings in the world of Yama, turns his mindful attention upon them and thinks to himself, thus will I act, thus will I progress, that, when I have known full enlightenment, in my Buddha field these 3 states of woe will in no way whatsoever be. And why? Because the state of dreaming and the state of being awake, all that is dharmically, not two nor divided. This also, Subhuti, should be known as the irreversible mark of an irreversible bodhisattva. The characteristic of the success in the sustaining power of the truth, when one appeases a conflagration in a city. Moreover, Subhuti, a bodhisattva, a great being, may, either in his sleep or on waking up from it, see a town on fire and think to himself, if I have the attributes, tokens, and signs which I have seen in my dream or on waking up from it as those with which an irreversible bodhisattva, great being, is endowed, then, because of this truth, because of the enunciation of this truth, let that town fire be appeased, cooled down, and extinguished. If that fire is then appeased, cooled down, and extinguished, then one should know that that bodhisattva has been predicted as irreversible from the supreme enlightenment. If, however, that mass of fire, overpowering this enunciation of the truth, spreads from house to house, from road to road, if it burns some houses and not others, some road and not others, then, Subhuti, one should know that the bodhisattva must at some time have heaped up a karma conducive to the rejection of dharma by these beings. And through that the houses of some of these beings now burn while others do not. It is their karma which now matures in this very life. It is the karma left over from the rejection of dharma which now comes to fruition. This is the cause of a bodhisattva's irreversibility, this is its condition. Through these causes and conditions should the irreversible bodhisattva, great being, be known. The characteristic of accomplishing a truthful utterance which induces ghosts, such as yakshas, to go away. And once more, Subhuti, I will demonstrate the attributes, tokens, and signs by which an irreversible bodhisattva, great being, should be known. If some woman or man were possessed by a ghost, then the bodhisattva should think to himself, if it is true that the tathagatas of the past have predicted me to full enlightenment, then to the extent that my earnest intention to win full enlightenment, and my attention to it, and perfectly pure, to that extent I have left behind the thoughts of the disciples and pratyekabuddhas, and I surely will win full enlightenment. Nor shall I not win full enlightenment. Surely, I shall win full enlightenment. There is nothing that the Buddhas and Lords who reside in countless world systems and demonstrate Dharma have not cognized, seen, known, realized, or fully known. I am sure to win full enlightenment, for these Buddhas and Lords know my earnest intention to do so. By this truth, by this enunciation of the truth may that ghost depart who possesses and torments this woman or man. If as a result of this utterance of the bodhisattva the ghost does not depart, then one should know that that bodhisattva has not been predicted by the former tathagatas to full enlightenment. But if he departs one should know that the bodhisattva has had his prediction to full enlightenment. As endowed with these attributes, tokens, and signs should the irreversible bodhisattva, great being, be known. Mara's deeds. Moreover, in connection with the sustaining power of the truth, Mara, the evil one, may approach a bodhisattva unpracticed in the 6 perfections, deficient in skill in means, unpracticed in the 4 applications of mindfulness, 2. In the doors to freedom which consist in emptiness, the signless, and the wishless, and who has not entered on a bodhisattva's specific course of salvation. When the bodhisattva effects his act of truth, i.e. by this truth, by the enunciation of the truth that the tathagatas of the past have predicted my full enlightenment, may that ghost depart. Then Mara, the evil one, will eagerly try himself to remove the ghost. And why? As Mara's efforts become ever more forceful and vehement, in the end the ghost will actually be removed by Mara's power. But the bodhisattva will think to himself, it is through my might that that ghost has departed. And will fail to cognize that his departure was in fact due to Mara's might. In consequence he will despise other bodhisattvas, deride, mock, condemn, and depreciate them, in the belief that he himself has been predicted to full enlightenment by the tathagatas of the past, but those others have not. As he grows in conceit and produces thoughts of conceit, so he moves far away from the knowledge of all modes, from the utmost Buddha cognition. When such a being, so greatly lacking in skill in means, produces this kind of excessive conceit, then 2 levels may be expected of him. Which 2? The level of the disciples or that of the pratyekabuddhas. It is thus that a deed of Mara will arise to that bodhisattva through the sustaining power of the truth. He will omit to tend, love, and honor the good spiritual friends, and thus he will further tighten the hold which Mara has over him. And why? Because he has not practiced the 6 perfections, because he has not been taken hold of by skill in means. This also should be known by the bodhisattva, the great being, as Mara's deed. And how is it that Mara, the evil one, approaches the bodhisattva in connection with the prediction of his name, if the bodhisattva is unpracticed in the 6 perfections, 2. Has not entered on a bodhisattva's special way of salvation? Here Subhuti, Mara, the evil one approaching the bodhisattva in some guise or other, will say to him, "You, son of good family, have by the tathagata been predicted to the supreme enlightenment. This is your name, these the names of your mother, father, brother, sisters, friends, relatives, kinsmen, and relations. Backwards through 7 generations he will recite the names of your parents. And he will tell you the country and region from which you have come, as well as the country, town, or village in which you were born. If the bodhisattva has a dull nature, he will tell him that also in the past he has been dull. If he is keen, he will claim that likewise in the past he was keen. If the bodhisattva is a forest dweller, or begs his food from door to door without